Good morning. I brought my notes, but not my disciple book. I'm pretty sure this is lesson 25. It's the one on witness. It's the one on Paul's journeys and how he goes out to Rome and Athens and Corinth and Ephesus. It's about the later part of the book of Acts. And of course, this brings up a very important issue for us, which is, do we witness? Should we witness? How can we witness? And the answer, of course, is that yes, we should always be ready and willing to give an answer of the hope that lies within us. My personal feeling, though, is that we do no one any favors by scaring them, by threatening them, by insinuating that they're going to hell. In fact, I believe that you need to earn the right to witness to someone. And what I mean by that is some people feel called to stand on a street corner and be a street preacher. Maybe that works. I've never seen that work. My experience with that has usually been very negative, very hateful. The kind of witnessing that I more expect is that we live with one another and we look for folks that we connect to. And after a while, the people that you work with, the people that you live in your neighborhood, your relatives, you get to know them, you live in relationship with them, and you find the opportunities as is appropriate to talk with them. And it doesn't have to be about, are you saved? I mean, you don't have to go right for the jugular right out of the gate. But it can be about love. It can be about family. It can be about church. I know a lot of people that aren't comfortable asking people about their relationship with Jesus Christ, but are very comfortable inviting them to come join them at their church. And so I would just encourage you to find ways that you're comfortable, but always be willing to share your faith or share your love. When we share love, we really are sharing God and doing His work. Remember in Matthew 25, Jesus said, I was hungry and you fed me. I was in prison and you visited me. I was naked and you clothed me. Well, these people weren't out on a street corner preaching. They were sharing their faith by how they lived. There's a famous quote of John Wesley, which I'm going to botch because I don't have it in front of me. But it basically says, share your faith, be a witness, use words when necessary. Very powerful thought, I think, that there are so many ways to witness that go beyond our words. In fact, oh my goodness, don't we know this is true, that you can ruin your witness by what you say sometimes, by the hateful demeanor that some Christians talk about other people. What kind of a witness is Fred Phelps Church in Topeka regarding the Christian faith? Not a good one. I don't think their work really helps the gospel along the way. But anytime we share God's love, anytime we care, we are witnessing. We are doing His work. We are doing it as unto Him. As if we did it to the least of these, we did it unto Him. An interesting thing about Paul's missionary journeys is that they need to go out. If they don't start out and share the gospel with other Jewish people, and eventually they share with the Gentiles as well. The gospel was a fledgling at the time. It was a baby bird. It really needed a boost to get out there and fly. And so Paul goes all over the place, and that's very important. Of course, today there are Christians all over the world, and communications is so available. Paul couldn't get on the phone and talk to people about the gospel. Paul couldn't send them an email. They couldn't get on the internet and read about it. Today, the communications issues are so different. There's so many ways that people can come to Christ without you ever even going, just by reading on the internet and just media through television and radio. Doesn't mean that we shouldn't go. I think there's a lot of important work yet to be done in the world. There are a lot of unreached people groups. I have a friend that is a missionary in Israel, and they aren't allowed to tell anyone that they're missionaries. They are sort of living their incognito. And by living in their midst, they build relationships and look for opportunities to share their faith. This is illustrated in Acts 16. Paul and Silas are imprisoned, and during their experience, they reach out, and the jailer comes to Christ. Well, this is kind of what I'm referring to. Is maybe it's our job to reach the utmost lost tribes of Africa, but how about the person that you're with on a daily basis? Isn't that someone to care about? Someone to love, someone to reach out. And so witness isn't something that we go and do. It's something that we are. It's something that happens. Now, one more thing that I want to lift up to you about evangelism and witnessing that I find very interesting. This is one of my favorite passages. It's from Romans 1:20. This is what it says. Since the creation of the world, God's invisible qualities, his eternal power and divine nature have been clearly seen, being understood from what has been made, so that men are without excuse. Since the creation of the world, God's invisible qualities, his eternal power and divine nature have been clearly seen, being understood from what has been made, so that men are without excuse. Let me paraphrase this. From the very beginning, for all time, who God is and what God is about, his power and nature have been clearly seen. It's on display, and we understand it through creation, through what has been made. And it's on display in such an amazing way that men are without excuse. Kind of when the psalmist says, the heavens declare the glory of God, there isn't a language that they're not speaking. The heavens speak to us. They're crying out to anyone that will listen that there is a God. Now, part of what I love about this is that it means that the pygmies in Africa, and everybody asks the preacher, what about the pygmies in Africa? They're accountable to God. They wake up in the morning and they step out of their hut and they look at the sky and the moon and the stars and the trees and life, and they're accountable. Somehow God holds them accountable. This doesn't absolve us from sharing our faith with them or reaching out to them, but I do believe that what it tells us is God is constantly working to reach people. And he does it beyond our formulas, beyond our theologies, beyond our little 4-step programs of how people come to Christ. God is speaking to the world through what has been made. And that message is so strong that people are without excuse. They must choose based on what they see in this world, either to believe that there's a creator, that there's someone greater than I, or to turn and live a selfish life. Since the creation of the world, God's invisible qualities, his eternal power and divine nature have been clearly seen, being understood from what has been made, so that men and women are without excuse. I'm Pastor Jeff. This is the Green Room. Welcome to Disciple Bible Study. God bless you. I'm sure you'll have a lively discussion on the topic of sharing your faith. Have a great evening, and again, it is my deep, deep privilege to be your pastor.